Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are,
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. This is theblackfinancialchannel.com. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I hope you guys are having a great day. Today is a beautiful day, and also today happens to be Black Movie Night. So if you are interested in being a part of something that we are creating, which is a Black-owned film industry, then you can register for Black Movie Night for free at blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. So tonight we're going to watch, tonight, which is June 25th, at 8 p.m., we're going to watch The Black Love Blueprint, directed by award-winning director Dorian Chandler out of the Bronx. And so we'd love to have you guys out there. And also Estia Brown will be there as well. Estia Brown, you may have seen her on Dr. Oz and some other places. And she's just a really smart sister. And she is a therapist that was actually in the film. So please feel free to check it out. Some good books for young black men. I don't know, maybe Rich Dad, Poor Dad, autobiography of Malcolm X. I think anything by Dr. Claude Anderson. Everybody should read Dr. Claude Anderson books. If you haven't read Dr. Claude Anderson books, I suggest you do that. And maybe I shouldn't suggest Rich Dad, Poor Dad, since that guy seems to have some views that people don't like. But you know what? At the end of the day, I don't really care what your views are. I don't care if you like me or not. All I care about is whether or not my people are winning. So if so really, I just want to encourage you guys, stop being triggered by whether or not people like you. I'm just here to break the news to you. They don't like you. They don't like you at all. They don't care about you. They don't want to see you win. Nobody gives a shit about you. If you have to care about yourself. So hashtag B1 in the chat. Type hashtag B1 to let me know that you're black first. I think it's important for us to be black first. So let's pop in and talk about what's going on today in the markets. How many of you investors are in here? All my investors, raise your hand. Let me know if you're investing. Let me know if you made money today. Did you make money today or lose money? Yesterday was a tough day. Today started off as a really bad day and went negative. I think the Dow went negative by about 260 points, and then it went positive. Briefly, slightly positive, or at least, replaced all the losses. And a lot of that was driven by information related to banking. So the bad news was, the corona thing. Every day the headlines are going to be dominated by corona for quite a while. Every day you're going to see increases in infections because of 2 things. One, the economy is opening up. So, when you open up, you're going to have more infections. This is just going to happen. But then number 2, you're going to have increases in testing. So when more people get tested, well, of course, you're going to find out, more information, right? So it's almost like, somebody who goes to the doctor and the doctor tells you that you're sick, but you've really been sick for a year and you didn't know it. You thought you were healthy and you kind of feel like, well, gosh, every time I go to the doctor, I get sick. Well, you didn't get sick because you went to the doctor. He just told you that you were already sick. So basically, I think the tests are going to do a good job, which is to reveal how many people have the virus. And then also remember there's a 5% chance of dying. And then actually, if you are under the age of 60, the odds drop to like well below 1%. So if you get a positive infection, don't freak out. Don't kill yourself. Don't think you're going to die. You're probably not going to die. That's just the data. That's the data. Now, speaking on that, though, what's driving a lot of what's happening now is that corona scenario and how that's going to affect the reactions of politicians. How many cities are going to shut down? How many states? Is the federal government going to shut down? Also, you have more information about the election coming up. Biden is expected to win. Right now, Biden's just got all the momentum at his back. Biden is ahead of Trump on every area except for the economy, ironically, which is really interesting, right? Given that the economy just crashed, but apparently they're not blaming that on him. But, I think that his handling of all the other areas outside of the economy has been so troubling for people that I think you're going to see a switch up in the White House. Now, for those of you who are investors who are watching your money, just, based on history and based on data and based on studies, a Democrat in the White House typically drops the stock market. The stock market tends to underperform when Democrats are in the White House. So you're going to see a little bit of a dip there because the Republicans are all, they tend to fight for the rich, right? So, and so even though you may not be rich, if you're an investor, you're doing what rich people do. That's why one day you're going to become rich, even if you're not, because, your habits and your choices plays a huge part in how, your wealth outcomes. So what's happening is because you're invested and you're getting capital gains taxes, things like that, they're going to start taxing you more. I think Trump actually reduced the capital gains tax even further than it needed to be, in my opinion. I feel like it was already pretty low, and he dropped it even further. So so maybe we need a Democrat. Maybe we need some balance, because one of the big problems in our society is that the wealthy have been able to kind of raid the government. The government is kind of, the government's. I'm kind of trying to figure out what it. Here's the deal. You got cities all over this country that are close to either bankrupt or close to it. You got states that are on the verge of bankruptcy. I think it's either cities or states, one of the two, that are not allowed to declare bankruptcy, but they're pretty much there. So it's only a matter of time before the federal government is in the same position. So at some point it's going, it's just going to keep getting worse. I mean, you just took on $3 extra trillion of debt, and you already have more debt than you could ever repay. So I don't really know how this is going to end for the country. But, either way, though, either way, until that time happens or until things change drastically, all you can do is operate with what is in front of you. So what I see in front of me is Biden's probably going to win the election, which is going to dip the market a little bit, but it won't kill it. Also, the virus is an issue, not so much because the virus is going to kill everyone. The studies show that it won't, but because of the reaction to the virus. Like how people get afraid, and when people get afraid, people stop spending, people stop investing, people stop going out. Everything comes to a standstill, and economies don't work well when they're at a standstill. What's the other piece of interesting information? So there was a big reversal this morning on all stocks, pretty much led by bank stocks. Basically, regulators released something called the Volcker Rule. The Volcker Rule was named after Paul Volcker, who was I want to say the Treasury Secretary, but I don't think he was the Treasury Secretary, but maybe he was. I want to say he was the head of the Fed, but I think maybe Treasury Secretary. I think he was Treasury Secretary. Anyway, the Volcker Rule basically, I think it's ironic, right? On one hand, bank stocks shot up because they relaxed the Volcker Rule. But I'm a believer that actually that rule needed to be in place, because what the Volcker Rule did was the Volcker Rule basically forced banks to insure themselves and to hedge a little bit better when they were taking big risks. So what it did was it caused increased capital requirements as a result of investing in derivative securities, which can be very risky, which mainly stock options and futures and stuff like that, and credit default swaps and all these other things that are out here that are kind of dicey, things that the public doesn't understand. For example, back in 2008 when the market crashed, it was due to the mortgage-backed securities market. And I would say that the reason that you had this crisis emerge out of the blue is that people didn't understand what was going on until it was over. Then they went back and they would watch documentaries explaining what was happening, but nobody knew what was happening while it was happening, right? So, in a way, it's like you have your teenager that's down in the basement doing science experiments, and you don't know what they're doing because you don't know chemistry, but then one day your basement explodes, or your house burns down, and then you're like, okay, what were you doing? Oh, he was mixing nitroglycerin with some other chemical, and that's why everybody almost died. So I personally think the Volcker Rule was good for banks, but it is what it is. That's my fiance is very metaphysical. She's into metaphysics. So to show her that I can be metaphysical too, I say, you know what? It is what it is. It ain't what it ain't. And it's going to be what it's going to be. So I agnostically accept just what's going on. And my goal is not to always control the environment, but to just understand it. So if you want to understand the environment, what's happening is that basically banks are, I'm reading here on CNBC, the Volcker Rule, they relaxed it. It allows banks to more easily make large investments into venture capital. The companies will also be able to avoid setting aside cash for derivatives trades between different affiliates of the same firm, potentially freeing up billions of dollars for the industry. So all the banks saw a jump in their stock price because of this. They're like, oh, this is great. We get to take more risk, right? We get to drive the car faster. We get to put our foot on the gas. But then obviously you guys understand, if you put your foot on the gas and you're pushing really hard, then you can also crash. And that's what is definitely eventually going to happen. I mean, just know that one of the downsides of an accelerated economy is you're at risk of really horrific crashes. And so while it might seem like it's not worth it because the crashes are so bad, sometimes the fast life is something that people choose, right? You ever see somebody that lives the fast life where when times are good, they're really good, but when times are bad, they're like almost dead or almost in jail? Well, I've had relatives that live like that, and they like that life. They like the fast life. But then there's some people who don't want the fast life. So, Wall Street and capitalism, unfortunately, it leans toward the economic fast life. So when times are good, things will be great. You'll be like the roaring 20s, all over again. It was like that before the corona situation. It's going to be like that again. And a lot of money is going to be made. And I encourage you to participate in that. I encourage you to go make your money, get out here and participate in all of this, learn what's going on. But remember, I was coaching my 17-year-old stepson the other day on investing. I said, look, when times are good, you must always obsess yourself with preparation for when times get bad. Because the higher you go, the further you will fall. So when times are good, you must prepare for when times are bad. If you don't prepare for when times are bad, then it's going to hit you upside the head like a brick, and it's going to be incredibly painful. So always prepare for when times are bad. So right now, times are good. Not overall. I know the economy's, you got a lot of joblessness out here, a lot of other issues. And I tend to agree. I liked Regina King, the actress. She actually said, it's really condescending for Hollywood actors to do PSAs where they're telling everybody, you better stay home or make sure you stay home. And she said, because some people can't afford to stay home. Some people are willing to weigh the risk. They're like, look, okay, you're telling me that there's this virus and I have a 1 in 300 chance of catching it. And then if I catch it, I have a 1 in 100 chance of dying. Well, I'll take that chance, right? It doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means that there are some people who, because of their financial situation, can't afford to just sit at home for the next 5 years. So I think that one of the things that politically that I tend to believe in is I believe in this thing called freedom. I believe that you should be free to do what you want. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. You can infect your grandparents and stuff like that. Well, then your grandparents should stay home. They shouldn't have you come over to the house if you went out. In fact, it's funny. Alicia and I took a trip to Florida with the kids. And when we came back, we had relatives that were like they didn't want to come near us at all. But just for the record, we're all fine. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's good. Because again, because we're scientists, we look at the data, we look at the numbers, and if the odds of infection had been high or the odds of a death had been high, we wouldn't have participated. So because the odds are low, it's like, yeah, well, you know what? She grew up in the hood in Gary, Indiana, and in Gary, anybody knows anything about Gary knows that you might get shot on any day of the week. So sometimes you just choose to live. So, and I believe people have a right to make that choice. So I want you to make the choice that's going to work for you. The choice is going to work well for your family. And the choice that I really believe you want to really look into, if you haven't done this yet, is the choice to invest. And also remember, when it comes to investing, a lot of people talk about investing as a pathway to fast money, and you can make fast cash and make all this extra income, and that's fine. Income is nice, but also remember that income is not as important as wealth. The reason you invest is not just to have income, it is to build wealth. Why do you want wealth over income? Well, because wealth is financial security. Maybe income provides some sort of financial comfort. If it provides some sort of financial immediacy that allows you to pay your bills and things like that. But wealth is just something that you have that becomes like a bunker that you can live in that protects you from all the terrible things that are happening out here in this world, right? So if you want to know why, what my investing philosophy is, I'm not a trader. A trader is not an investor. A trader is not typically an investor. I'm not trading and moving and ducking and dodging and moving and switching between stocks, hoping to make a fast dollar here and a fast dollar there. No, I'm just an asset accumulator because I know that the more assets I accumulate, the more secure my family is, because I've then got an economic bunker that will protect my family in case we run into hard times, right? So just always remember that when you invest, always know the difference between income and wealth. A lot of folks don't know the difference. That's why you got black folks with degrees that brag about how much income they have, but don't understand how financially insecure you are when you have no wealth. Your income provides an opportunity to create wealth, but a lot of people take their income in and it just zips right through their financial body. They they take the money in and they spend it and it's gone just like that. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that went to Harvard and Duke University and have master's degrees who make $150,000, $200,000 a year, who have no savings, no investments, own no assets, no nothing, and they don't understand how financially insecure they are until they crash. So we could talk about Wall Street and be stuck about, Wall Street living the fast life and all that stuff. Well, a lot of y'all are living the fast life too. A lot of you were trained to live the fast life because you never saw anything other than that. All you saw was get up, go to work, get your check, spend the check, and then go to work again so you can get another check. And that's not really the safe way to live, in my opinion. I'm not dogging you or making fun of you if that's how you're living now, or if that's the life that you've been exposed to. What I'm telling you is that there is another way, there is a better way, but it requires sort of a shift in terms of having the patience to understand what wealth building does for your life. Wealth building gives you, when you build wealth, you have a type of peace and contentment and comfort that is on a higher vibration than just, I'm gonna hustle and get me some fast cash. Like honestly, I see that as kind of a lower frequency vibration. Like, I'm a hustler, I'm gonna go out in the streets, get my dollar bills and come back and go get me a Lamborghini. That's cool, right? But once you have, driven a nice car, once you have lived in a nice house, once you have known what it feels like to go on an expensive vacation or to eat at a fancy restaurant or buy fancy clothes, eventually you're gonna want something beyond that. You're gonna say, wait a minute, wealth doesn't just give me the ability to go buy a bunch of worthless material items that are going to drop in value as soon as I buy them. Wealth also gives me the ability to spend time with my children, right? Wealth also gives me the ability to have freedom every day, to get up and work in my pajamas and do something that I love and work with people that I want to be around. Wealth gives me the ability to get away from the racist white people that used to hammer me at my job. Wealth allows me to travel to see my dying parents before they're gone forever. Right? That's what wealth can also do. So I encourage you to just have a more expansive view of what wealth can do for you. And the reason I felt compelled to share that point is because you have so many images that are in complete contradiction to that. Every rapper that I've seen, since the flashy days in 1998 when Diddy started doing videos with shiny suits, have all sort of created this weird obsession with the finer things in life, right? So then 20 years later, you see the Migos, three guys that can barely read, sitting with some, pretty women with champagne glasses, driving, Ferraris, and you really think that's the life. Like, you really think like, oh my God, that's a good life. That's a dream life, but that's not a dream. That's not a great life. A lot of those people are on the verge of possibly going to jail. A lot of them are so deep in debt that you can't even imagine. A lot of them are incredibly stressed out and depressed. Many of them are addicted to drugs. Their marriages don't work. Maybe their kids hate them, whatever, right? They're living experiences that you'll never see on a rap video because all they're going to show you is the flashy stuff. So I want you to, if you like the flashy stuff, go try it out. Go enjoy that, right? But then go to something deeper than that. And I almost compare flashy wealth to, sustainable wealth. That's almost like the comparison between good sex and really, really deep love for another person, right? I'm not saying that good sex ain't a wonderful thing. You should enjoy that, right? But it's sad to go through life when all you've had is great sex, but you've never ever known what it's like to be loved, right? You've never known what it's like to be in a meaningful relationship, right? And if you really do it right, you can have a really deep, meaningful relationship that also has some really good sex, right? You can have a little bit of both. So don't think for a second that Alicia and I haven't gone through a car lot and said, ooh, I would love to have that car. And knowing the satisfaction that I could sign a piece of paper and drive off with that thing. But then what happens is I think about all the other things I'd rather do with my money, like invest in a business. And I say, you know what? I don't want a car like that. Right? So find out who you are and be that person, love that person, and let that person grow instead of letting people put you in some stupid little box where all you're doing is you're out here hustling for the cash and all you can see is the material stuff. I really think that there's a lot more to the world than that. So that's me on my soapbox. Thank you for letting me get on my soapbox. I appreciate it. I don't mean to preach, but I probably just did. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. I want you to have a good day. And don't forget, tonight at 8 o'clock, we're doing Black Movie Night. So if you'd like to join us at Black Movie Night, it's totally free. We're building a Black-owned movie industry. That's why we're doing this. We're making movies. We're hiring actors and actresses, hiring screenwriters, all of that. And so we're going to watch The Black Love Blueprint tonight at 8 o'clock. The award-winning director Dorian Chandler will be there. Therapist S.T. Brown will be there. She goes on Dr. Oz all the time, and she also works over with she used to run Ebony Magazine, and she was one of the main people with Ebony. She did something important at Ebony Magazine. And anyway, so she's coming through. If you want to register, go to blackmovienight.net. That's blackmovienight.net. Just RSVP. You can come in for free. Also, subscribe to the Black Financial Channel, theblackfinancialchannel.com. Follow the Black Financial Channel on Instagram. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV.